Hey gang, my name is Wes Gardner. KamiDaHobo. I'm that guy. If you don't know who I am, I've been a YouTuber, I've been a Twitch person, I've done online content for about 10 years now, but now I've gone into the other creative side and I want to start making my own games, writing my own books, really kind of digging in. And I wanted to give you guys kind of a behind the scenes look, almost a series of episodes that focuses on one main idea and kind of show you where my head's at on the creation of this. So my first project you may have heard of, it's coming out this summer of 2019 and it's called Mercenary. It's a short story, it's a first person shooter, so it's narrative based. It's gonna be, you could beat it within about 30 minutes. If you're real fast, you could beat it within about 5 minutes. But it's important to me. It's a story that I decided to actually tell, and it's just something really interesting, at least in my opinion. But I'm excited about it. I wanted to do kind of some more YouTube video content stuff, show you guys what it's about, but let you know what I'm up to and kind of go down that road together. That way we're kind of in the creative process together. But today's episode is a pretty important one. It's episode number 1 and it sets the mood for the whole series. So what better thing to talk about than tone? So our good friends at Merriam-Webster Dictionary, I wrote down 2 definitions for tone that I thought are pretty important. One is an accent or inflection expressive of a mood or emotion. And then the other one is the effect and painting of light and shade together with color. Tone in my mind is ambience. How do you feel in the moment when you watch a good movie or you read a good book or you play a good game and you're kind of in the moment? How do you feel right then? This is going to be different than theme, which we're going to talk about probably, if not next episode, but an episode afterwards. But theme is what do you think about after the story is completed or after you take a break? Like, what's on your mind? To me, that's the theme. But tone is what's happening as you're in the moment. What do the colors make you feel? What's the music? I'm a big kind of like touchy-feely sort of expressive guy. So I like to hear people's thoughts based on their emotional impact of what they're seeing or what they're hearing. So anything emotive, paintings, music, and that's a very big deal that I want to get across in Mercenary, not only in Mercenary, but in any of my projects. I want to make sure the tone is really on point. And then I actually got some questions here from some people, so I'd like to go through them kind of in order. So we covered what is tone, and I guess I could talk about what tone really means to me. And tone is the bread and butter of emotion and making emotional impact in what you're creating. And that could be in anything. I mean, one of my favorite things to do after watching a movie, for instance, is I will almost immediately want to watch the movie again with director's commentary, or like a commentary from a cinematographer. Or I want to hear, how did they solve the problem, right? If they had to get a certain emotion through a certain scene, what did they do and what decisions did they make? I find that endlessly fascinating because it tells you about the person, but then collectively it shows you, what did we do? Like, how did we fix this problem? Or if we really need to get someone to feel a certain way, without genuinely, beating them over the head with it, how do you do that? How do you tweak the lighting? Or what if the music creeps in instead of as loud? There's all these different small nuances that I just think are genius. I love it. I've been addicted to it forever. So yeah, I mean, I think tone is everything. I mean, try to watch a horror movie with the sound on mute, right? You could even close your eyes during a horror movie, but you hear the sound and it's more engrossing. You don't even need the visuals necessarily. So how do these things like lighting, audio, how does that all mix together to evoke an emotion out of somebody? And that's kind of what I'm wanting to learn how to do. I had my start in YouTube and podcasts and stuff, and it was a lot of fun, and I got to learn a lot. But the one thing that I've always been almost kind of scared of trying on my own is genuinely trying to elicit an emotion. If I have a story I want to tell, I do public speaking, I do stuff like that, and there's a lot of ebb and flow on setting a mood or setting a tone. But if I really want to have an emotional impact, like the same impact that some of my favorite stuff has had on me, how do I do that? That's a skill set I have not learned yet. I want to learn it, and I think the best way to do it is just go out there and make something. So, but yeah, so one of the questions is, what inspires you regarding tone? And ever since I was, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old, I loved comic books because it takes you to a place and it's drawn by somebody, and it just blew my mind that there's an artist and a writer and they have this idea and they talk about it together, and the writing goes in with the images, and then the artist actually tries to interpret what the writer meant, and it's so interesting how that all worked. And I would just trace, like Spider-Man. I remember a cover, it was Spider-Man, it had Venom on there, like from the upper corner. I'll probably put a picture of it on there. But I remember just tracing it over and over and over because there was that tension, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And go, but I mean, even nowadays, the one thing that I can always look at is concept art. I don't know what it is about concept art, but good concept artists, good speed painting, really any illustration, painting. I mean, that's kind of my formal background, but I haven't done it in so long. And I just get that giddy feeling about adventure or discovery whenever you look at a beautiful painting from the masters. And you go on these different websites, you kind of see all this stuff, or you see the documentaries and how the artists make all this, and it's mind-blowing, it's inspiring, but it's also scary because now I want to try that, but I'm not nearly as good as they are. So there's a little bit of a trepidation into putting going and jumping in the deep end. But I'm hoping with Mercenary and moving forward with everything from KamiDaHobo Entertainment that I can start developing that. And it may not be great up front, and I'll be the first to tell you, but I'll be learning. And I think there's a lot of power in that. You can't be afraid to fail. I say that I'm actually terrified to fail, especially for Mercenary coming out. I want it to be well liked. It's going to be free, so it's not about money. But I want to see if I can actually do it. I want to see if I can put my mind to something, make concept art, really develop the idea, bring it to fruition, and have people get out of it what I really liked putting into it. But I can look at concept art, just feeling like you're in a world. Whether, my favorite film series of all time is Blade Runner, both the original and 2049. And they nailed it. I mean, that you want to live there. It looks awful and it looks beautiful at the same time. It gives you mixed emotions. And on the gaming side of the house, I mean, if you watch any of my top 25 of all time list, which you should on this YouTube channel, it gives you an idea of where my head's at. But there's one series that I didn't really talk about a lot, but I think it does an incredible job at setting tone and visual storytelling that doesn't get a lot of credit for that, and that's Halo. I can tell you, Halo Reach and Halo ODST are like, if I could make my own version of a game, like those would be it. Because Halo ODST, you're on New Mombasa, you're like a detective. You have to look around. It's not the pretty greens and purples that you're used to with Halo. It's this like desolate gray and black, and you see these bright signs of what civilization used to be like. There's a lot of storytelling, there's a lot of meat on those bones, and that's the type of stuff I just get super amped about. And that's the type of thing I want to start doing with Mercenary and like the books that I'm going to write and things like that. I want to set that tone in your mind to where there's some beauty in it, but it's also a place you never want to go. Like, I'm glad the characters are there doing their thing, but I never want to go there. Like with Reach, Halo Reach. That is the biggest tragedy in Halo lore, and I'm a big lore head if you can't tell. But there's something about it that you see these people that are Spartans, but they're not Master Chief. It's not like Superman that, they show up and save the day and hooray, it's all better. What happens when a badass or a group of badasses goes up against something they can't win? They can't win. They're used to winning all the time, and this time they can't. And what does that mean? And that starts creeping into the theme territory, but that really comes back to tone. How do you set that tone? Do you have the kind of swampy, foggy, ambient, very kind of scary but not terrifying, but just a little, unknown. You kind of build that up, and that's just the stuff that I love. But yeah, and that's the stuff that inspires me. Is I want to try to emulate that, not necessarily mimic it. One, I'm not that good, but two, I'm a one-man army. I'm a one-man crew. I do sound design. I do the graphics, any texture work, lighting, working with the engines, programming. I'm it. That's it. I mean, I'm starting off right now. I don't want to bother other people with my ideas, so I'm just making them on my own as a proof of concept, and then who knows what will happen down the line. But I think it's important to get in there, figure out the tone, and in Mercenary being my first product, and I'm setting the tone of what to expect from KamiDaHobo Entertainment. So, I love doing it, and I'm really passionate about this project, but also it's scary, because what if you set off on the wrong tone? What if you set off on the wrong foot? What if people don't kind of respect the hustle? And there's been, you look at things like, there's been one-man shows like Stardew Valley and freaking Minecraft, but those are so far out of the realm of there's no way I could ever, genuinely, and that's not the goal. My goal is I want to tell small little short stories, almost a novella in video game form, and just a great inspiration for me is anything by Brave Mule. So go look up Brave Mule. They do interactive fiction. They do, God, what don't they do? They write their own music. They've worked in a lot of incredible indie games, but they're so passionate and so real about what message they want to get across. And if you play something like Mama Possum, there's such a sense of, in everything from the art to the music to the writing, and it all works together to build this amazing tone. And that's my goal. It's I don't even think I'm gonna get that good. But it's good to see that and try to work myself up to that level. So yeah, with tone, it's about, getting off on the right track and trying things, and we're gonna see where it leads. But this is just a quick, just a quick little wrap-up thing. And overall, what the tonal goal of Mercenary is, before we head off for this episode, what the tonal goal is, I want you to feel like something's not right. Like, as you play through the game, it's a 3-act game. As you play through, I want you to think that, I want you to start questioning things. As you're going through, what am I really doing? I don't want to give too much away, but I want you to feel uneasy. And I'm going to do that in a variety of ways. One, the health of your character is really low, but the health of the enemy characters is also really low. So if you're quick, you can make it out. You can end these conflicts. You can do these firefights. But you got to pay attention. But why are you there? Who sent you there? There's a lot of great video game stories that deal with that, like Metal Gear Solid comes to example, and BioShock, and Thief. What are you doing? What's your part in this? A lot of heady ideas, and I'm not even going to compare my stuff to that work, because that is bona fide classics like Deus Ex. There's no way in the world those are trained professionals. I am an amateur, the most amateur. But I think there's an idea, and it's something that gets me excited. And I hope as you play through, you're going to notice things like the lighting structure, the tone that I wanted for the lighting. I'm a really big fan of Tony Scott. He directed Man on Fire. He directed Domino. And Domino, there's this weird acid bleach, bypass, acid wash look. And it's grimy, and it's dirty, and it's grungy, and it makes you feel uneasy, and it's kind of sickly because it's yellows and greens and really vibrant purples, and you're like, whoa, it's a lot to take in. But I kind of dig it because it kind of fits the theme of what Mercenary is. So I want to set the tone to be able to reflect it. So I'm interested to hear, once it releases, I'd love to hear from you guys on, did I capture it? Did it feel like you were in a real place? Did it feel grungy? Did it feel the way that hopefully I intended it to? And I'm not here to tell you how to play my game once it's out, but I'd love to hear what you think about it, because that's my goal. My goal is to set a tone. Can you memorize this area? Is it so much part of your psyche now that you could draw it on a map? Could you draw a map of the level? I want you to feel like you're there. I want you to feel as a part of this, because the narrative happens because of you. You are the mercenary. But what does that mean? What does that entail? That's where you start getting into the fun stuff. But that's my time for this episode. Hope you like this little breakdown of tone and what it means to me and what it's going to mean for Mercenary. Be on the lookout for that. We'll do some more YouTube spoilery stuff soon. I'm going to show I showed a little bit of behind the scenes footage on this, but the next episode, whenever we talk about something, you'll see a lot more, and we'll start getting a little more into the headspace of creativity and things like that. But yeah, almost think of this like a video blog, a log, a dev diary, whatever you want to call it. But I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, this one's about tone. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm very excited to show you guys more about Mercenary and future projects from KamiDaHobo Entertainment. So I appreciate you guys very much. Hang in there. We'll see you real soon. Peace.